The parable of the laborers. Once there was someone who said such wonderful things and did such wonderful things that people just had to ask them questions. And one time they asked, "What is the kingdom of heaven really like?" The kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who has a vineyard. He has some workers with him all the time, but sometimes he needs extra laborers when it is time for harvesting the grapes. The foreman tells him they will need a lot of workers. So he goes out early in the morning with his cart and driver to hire laborers for his vineyard. He goes to the place in the village where the laborers go to wait for work. When he gets to the place where the laborers wait, he sees three men waiting. They're happy to see the landowner, hoping for a job. The men tell him, "We have come to work so we can have a feast, and we need to earn some extra money. We are good workers and also have our own tools." "That is good," said the landowner. "I will pay you 1 denarius to work in my yard all day. Do you agree that that is a fair wage?" "Yes, very generous. We will work for you." Now this is what a denarius looks like. A denarius is a coin that was used around the time that Jesus was teaching. It would have been a very good wage at the time for a full day of work. It would have seemed like a fortune to many poor people. The three men were very happy as they arrived at the vineyard. They were thinking about a whole denarius for each one of them and the fine feast they would have. The three laborers were put to work right away in the vineyard, but the foreman said, "We will need more workers." A little later in the morning, the landowner set off to see if more laborers had arrived. Now, most of the people that come looking for work do not have a steady job and must wait every day for work. Sometimes there is work for only a few, and sometimes there's no work at all. They worry each day that they will not have work. They wonder how they will survive with no work, no money, so they wait. This time, when he came to the place in the village where the laborers wait, he saw two men. And when they saw the landowner coming, the two men hurried over. "Please, sir, give us work. We're only late because our old wagon lost a wheel and we had to walk here. We need money to feed our families." The landowner told them he would hire them and pay a fair wage, and they set off in the wagon to the vineyard. When they got to the vineyard, they began to work. And a little after lunchtime, the landowner again set off into the village to find more workers. This time he saw two men waiting. One man came up to him and said, "Please, sir, I'm late because my wife is sick and now I need money for a doctor. I really need work." Another man came and said, I will work hard. I need money to pay my rent. I will hire you both, said the landowner, and away they went to the vineyard. Everyone worked very hard, sometimes in the hot sun. Near the end of the day, the landowner took one more trip into the village, and this time he found a woman waiting. When the woman saw him coming, she said, "Sir, I'm a widow, and a neighbor is watching my children, so I can only work a few hours to feed my children tonight. Can you hire me? I know it is late." The landowner said yes. Then he saw a boy playing with a lizard. The landowner said to the boy, "Why are you idle?" The boy said, "I'm just a homeless boy with a lame foot, and no one ever hires me." "I will bring you to the vineyard to work if you will," said the landowner, "and you can bring your lizard." So the widow, the lame boy, and the lizard got into the cart and rode to the vineyard. And when they got there, they went right to work. Everyone worked hard. And when evening came, the landowner said to his foreman, "It is time to call the laborers and pay them their wages." Everyone began to stop working so they could line up to get paid. The three men who started early in the morning lined up to be first in line. But the landlord said, "No, line up with the last to arrive first, then as you came, till the first to arrive at the end." So the laborers shuffled the line, and each person stood in line. Last arrivals were now first in line, and the first to arrive were at the end. First in line was the lame boy, and the landowner gave him a denarius. He was so surprised, he yelled, "A whole denarius! I can eat and find a place to sleep. Thank you," said the boy. The widow also received a denarius, and she exclaimed, "I can feed my family for weeks on this. Thank you." And so through the line, each received a whole denarius. The man that needed the doctor for his wife, and the man that needed rent, and the two men that needed to feed their families. All were so happy and relieved to have worked and had enough to help themselves and their families. All thanked the landlord for his generosity. Now, finally, the first group came to the front of the line, and each one of them also received one denarius, even though they had worked all day and the others had worked a shorter day. And on receiving it, they grumbled at the landowner, saying, "These people worked less, and some only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us who have borne the burden of the day and the scorching heat. We even brought our own tools, and they didn't." But he replied to them, "Friends, I am doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? And did you not agree that it was more than fair? People have different circumstances in their lives, and I choose to give to the last as I give to you, Am I not allowed to do what I choose with what belongs to me? Or do you feel I cannot be generous? The last will be first, and the first last. Now go, take what belongs to you and enjoy your feast, as you should. You've earned it.